Asa on freebellydanceclasses.com, and welcome to our series of 30 days of belly dancing, where I'm posting a video every single day for 30 days for the month of March. And we're doing different talks, technique videos. I'm teaching you lots of technique tricks and tips and combinations, and there will be workouts weekly, and there will also be a choreography at the end of the month. So definitely make sure you subscribe. But the most important part is there will be giveaways, lots of fun, really valuable giveaways. But the only way you're going to get it is by subscribing to the YouTube channel, so you can see the videos about the giveaways, and also to make sure you subscribe to the email list, because that's how you're going to get an email to know whether you won or not. Alright, so make sure you do that. Now, move on to our talk today. Our talk today is going to be about this question that I got from somebody, and it's something that I personally have been kind of thinking about my entire life, really, and I still do, in the world of dance and in the world of belly dancing. Which is about the fact of whether talent makes up for technique, or talent is important for the technique, or does the technique make up for the talent? I guess that's really the best way to ask this question is, if you don't think you are talented as a dancer in general, if you don't think you have that inner, you know, just like feeling of how to move and that sassiness and that feel for the beat, can you make up for it by just learning technique? It's a very tricky question. It really, really is. And to be honest with you, the reason I think it's tricky, and I went through different stages of my life as an instructor and as a choreographer and as a performer and as a student, where I taught that you could make up for talent with technique, but then I went through other stages where I thought differently. And I want to explain this a little bit. I don't want this video to be too long, but I really want to tell you where I come from and why at different points of my life I thought differently. And I still don't have like a 100% answer, but I can tell you what my answer today after so much experience is, okay? So I went to, when I was young, and I was very interested in the art of belly dancing and dance in general. Like, I just hear the beat, I just want to move. You know, this is not, by the way, about belly dancing in particular. This is really more about just dancing in general. When I just would feel the beat and I just want to go with it, there was some calling within that I personally couldn't explain. It was just making me kind of wanted to move. And I knew how to move to it. I mean, I'm not saying I was great at it. I'm not saying I had the best technique. I'm not saying I had the best moves. All those things don't matter, okay? Because that's stuff you could learn, right? And someone else could teach you different ways of moving. But I knew what move went with the beat. I just felt it, right? I knew how to mark the beat at what point. I can hear the rhythm, I can hear the strong beats, I can hear the melodies, I can hear all that. I could hear it naturally. I never really had to learn that part, right? So when I hear those things, I knew how to dance to them. I knew how to move my body to them. And that was from a very young age. I never really knew why or how. It's just something in me, right? So I always wanted to move. If I hear a song that calls to me, I'm just like, yeah, I'm going to go with it. So that was a stage of my life where I thought, I have this thing in me, you know, I just have it. It's a feeling, it's something, and I just hear it and I go. And then I had friends at the time where, like, they would be listening to the same song, the same exact music, beat per beat, and they wouldn't know where it starts. They wouldn't feel it. They would just sit. And they would watch me just kind of move, and they would be like, whatever, you know? And I thought, they just don't get it, or they don't have what I have, or they don't hear what I hear, or something, right? So at that point of my life, I really did believe strongly that there's something within me that could be very strange that those other people don't have. I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's bad, I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, I'm not saying it's better. In a culture where I grew up in the Arab culture where dancing, especially in my family, I had a very, very, very conservative father who, whenever he hears the music, it's like the devil is talking and he just wants to listen to that music. And so I would always try to listen to the music as low volume as I possibly can so he doesn't hear it, and whenever I know he's around, I just turn it off. So I didn't grow up in an environment that encouraged anything like that. It was just something within me, right? And so whenever I heard that, I would just like try to dance, so I was hiding it, right? But my friends, when they were around me, and my family, when they were around me, and they would hear exactly the same beat, they would just not move the same way. They wouldn't even move at all sometimes, at all, to the same beat. So I thought, there's got to be something within me, And the culture I grew up in, like I said, did encourage that. So it made me kind of feel like whatever I had, and I don't care what it is, or what you would call it, but whatever it is within me that called me to move to that kind of music is wrong. And it's devilish. And it's something I should never do, and I should combat, and I should, resist. So that's how I grew up, but I would still do it because it felt good. It's like you really couldn't help it. It was just like something I felt, my body just went with it. But I would do it in hiding, right? And for the longest time in Morocco, I did it in hiding. And then I get to a point in my life when I was a teenager, and I really was interested more about not just, it's a song, it's a music, it makes me move. I came to the point where I started asking the question, what's in the moves? What's in the song? What's in the music that makes me want to move that way? So I was more curious about the music itself, right? Like, how do you compose rhythms? What are rhythms? What's a strong beat? What's this melody? What's that bum? What's that how do you move to all of those? How does it feel, each one of those parts of the music? So I kind of got a little bit more into the music. And the more I got into the music, the more I figured, there is a structure to all this stuff. All this stuff that for the longest time I just thought I loved, and I just moved to it naturally. There is actually a technique to it, and there is a structure to it. And I started to think, those people that I knew that couldn't move to the music the same way I did, if they only understood the structure to this music and to the song, and and the strong beat and the low beat and the melodies and the beats and all this stuff, they might actually really get it. So I started thinking, I can teach anyone to dance. And I strongly believed at that stage of my life, when I was a teenager, that I could teach anyone to dance. And that was really the beginning of me wanting to teach dance and really being very serious about music and being very serious about the technical aspects of dance. And so I started to learn very secretly, away from my family, this world of dance. And I didn't want anybody in my family to know, because it was the forbidden thing in our family, and my dad would literally kill me if he knew that I dance. And my mom is a really great dancer, and she knows how to move to the music, but she just wouldn't understand the whole world of trying to learn moves and technique and music and the arts and the beauty of it all. It was just something she did on her own because, she felt like it. So I started to really get serious about it and get very technical about it. And at that point in my life, like I said, I really just believe I can teach anyone to dance. But I was just still learning. I was in my learning phase. Then later on in my life, I think past my early 20s, I would say early 20s to mid 20s, is when I really started to get serious about teaching, right? And at that time, I was like, I can teach anyone to dance, because now I know this structure, I know this, technical part of music and dance. And that was the part of my life where I really learned a lot, took so many classes. And it's not just about belly dance, it was like, I started at that time to learn other styles of belly dancing, from different countries. I got introduced to the Turkish styles, to the Egyptian styles, to the Tunisian styles, to the Iraqi styles, to the Khaliji, to the Dabki, all those different styles that were still part of my culture as a belly and an Arab woman, but they were kind of distant slightly, and but I wanted to learn from a more structural and technical point. And at that time, I knew all this music, I grew up with it, I just didn't know the technical parts of it. So I started to learn those things. But then I started to really learn dance in general. It wasn't just about belly dancing. And that was also about the point of my life when I left Morocco. I left Morocco when I was 23. Moved to the United States, and I really started to get into dance in general. So it wasn't only about belly dancing, it was about dance in general. And I had this, I just got out of this phase of my life where I was very curious about the technical aspects of dance and music, and I started to apply that to like other dances, other Western style dances. And I started doing salsa when I was in Cuba, and I started to learn ballroom, Latin. I got into different styles, and I applied the same kind of technique. And I really did believe, as a student who was learning some form of dance that was totally foreign to me and to my culture and to the way I grew up and the way I grew up learning how to move, onto my music, that if I apply the same technical parts that I learned about structured music and dance and movement and body mechanics and all these new foreign dances to me and ways of moving my body, I can totally learn it. And I did. It wasn't something that was very difficult, to be honest with you. It was different, but it wasn't difficult because I can apply the same exact, like I said, technique and steps and all. So at that point, I was very much convinced that breaking down the music, understanding the beat, understanding the melody, understanding the footwork and the body mechanics of human beings, I can move to anything and I can learn anything. And then came a point of my life where I taught even more the art of belly dancing, and I got more involved with different styles of dancing at different levels, and I got even more technical about them, and I met more people and I had more students and taught quite a variety of people from the US and from different parts of the world where I traveled and taught. And I started to become much more convinced that there is this small group of people, you know, that would actually never learn to dance. There was a group of people that I found, no matter where I went, no matter what level of dance I got into, whether it was beginner, absolute beginner, or all the way to troupe level when I had a troupe. And I thought, there is a group of people, in fact, that could never learn to dance. And I started pointing out, why is it that these people could never dance? They just can't feel it. You know, it's about that feeling, which is something that as a teacher, you can never teach to anyone. I mean, you can try. You can try to teach them the body mechanics and steps and footwork and all that stuff, but feeling is something you can never teach to anybody. So I started to kind of like, you know, the technical part of me and the brainiac that I am, I wanted to like really break it down and analyze it and find out exactly what's in these people that makes them not able to feel what I feel. I wanted to be very technical about it. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe I shouldn't even be technical about it, but I kind of really narrowed it down to the fact that there are some people that truly, when they hear the beat, when they hear a song, when they hear music in general, they can't hear the beat the same way everybody else does. You know what I mean? Like, some people really hear the entire song as being just melodies, when it's not. There are beats, there are strong, sharp beats, and then there are melodies. And some people just don't hear that. They hear the entire thing as a melody from start to finish. It's like, how could you not hear this? Do you hear that? You know, that strong beat in the middle, which you have to accent as a dancer. You hear that? And they don't. Like, you could literally point it out constantly and play the same song over and over 1,000 times and they would never hear it. So I kind of started to think, oh my gosh, there's actually a certain group of people in this world that does not hear the beat. It just doesn't hear the music the same way as other people. And I started to find out that those were the people that couldn't dance. In my classes, whenever I get someone who's just like, oh, I love to learn belly dancing, and you know, they do it for maybe the wrong reasons. You know, they want the costumes, the outfits, the sexiness of it all, or whatever. But when you play the music, they can't hear it. And I'm like, So I started to get to a point in my life where I was honestly telling those people, I think you need to find another hobby. This might not be the thing for you. And I think you'll love it, but I think you'll love it for the wrong reason. And it's not about dancing. And you're going to spend so much time being frustrated as a student and as a dancer, trying to figure out how to move, that you're not going to enjoy it. I'm sure there's other things in your life that you're going to find much more enjoyable. So I started to really say that to a lot of my students. And this is what I'm at in my life at this point. I do strongly believe that the music and the beat and the movement of the human body has a technique to it that you can learn, and anyone can teach you that. But it is going to mean absolutely nothing. And absolutely, there's nothing you can do with all that technique you're going to learn if you don't feel it. If deep inside when someone plays a song, it just doesn't call to you, it just makes you go like, yeah, that's happy music. Oh, that's sad music. I want to express it this way, or I want to express it that way. Or if you can't hear a song and you're going like, oh, that's a strong beat. That's a melody, strong beat. Melody, slow down here, speed it up here, and bump, mark it there. You know, if you don't hear those things, I really don't think anybody can teach you to. I really, really do not think anyone in this world is capable of teaching to you. And I can be completely wrong, but I'm just talking from my experience as a dancer, as a student of someone who learned so many different styles of dance, and as a teacher for the longest time who taught people from all different backgrounds and cultures around the world. There is really, truly a group, and it really is a small group, because to be very honest with you, the majority of my students are people that can hear it. I mean, I could be wrong about saying that, making that statement, because it could be that the people that can hear the music and hear the beats and all that stuff are the people that joined the dance classes at the end, and so therefore those are the people I meet. I could be wrong about that, I don't know. But from my experience, it has always been a very small group of people that just couldn't hear it, and doesn't feel it, and doesn't call to them, and doesn't create a certain feeling, expression within themselves that they want to experience with a movement in the body. And those are the people that I honestly think doesn't matter how much technique you're going to teach them, it's never going to make up for that feeling. So it's a long video, it's a lot of talking, but I really want you to understand where I come from, you know, saying what I'm saying. I really do believe that you have to have a certain feeling inside of you that maybe we call talent, and it could be called anything you want to call it, but that's what I think a lot of people call talent. It's something that you just have within you. And I think it's a feeling, I really do. I think it's something when you hear the music you feel, and you just, you know, calls you to move a certain way. Some people have that, and some people don't. And I think if you don't have it, it's very difficult to teach it to you, or maybe impossible to teach it to you. I don't know, everybody's different. So that is what I stand today. I think that if you have that feeling within you, if you can hear that rhythm and the music and everything, I can teach you. But if you lack it, I can't teach you. So I would say that if you have a good ear and a good feeling for the beats and the music, yes, technique could make up for a lot of talent if you feel like you don't have it. But if you don't have that feeling, which we call talent, I don't think any amount of technique teaching is going to ever make up for that. I really don't. So I just leave it at that. Comment below. Tell me what you think. I'm very curious, because for me, it's, as an instructor, it's a very challenging part of what I do. And it's an ongoing learning process for me, and anything I can learn from somebody maybe who's older than me and has more experience than me is definitely very welcome. So post your comments, let me know what you think. This is, I think, by far one of the most interesting conversations we'll probably have in our coffee talks and our belly talks that we do on this website. So, enough said, this is a very long video as it is. I'll see you next time in our next belly talk, and more videos coming up this month in March, which is our 30 days of belly dancing. I'll be posting a video every single day for 30 days. And there'll be a variety, of course, of videos, not just talks, but there will be like technique combos, choreographies, workouts, and so on. So subscribe to the YouTube channels to stay on top of those videos, and definitely subscribe to the email list so we can get the emails every single day, and also so we can know if you won the giveaways that we have going on this month. I'll see you next time. freeballetdanceclasses.com is our website. Bye!